And the legend goes that the full moon brings with it horrible events. Hey everybody, this is a grumpy old guy gaming. Today we're going to be looking at the game Master of Darkness for the Sega Master System. Fantastic opening here. It's got this nice little intro here where it tells you about the legend of the vampire and an incident that allegedly occurred 100 years ago in England. Introduces you to the character you'll be playing, Ferdinand Social, paranormal investigator who's just sort of messing around with his Ouija board one night, and then he gets some mysterious messages. This is going to play very much like a Castlevania game. There are a couple differences. More frustrating and random than truly different in any way. You'll see what I'm talking about when we get there. But I do want to take a moment and just say how much I appreciate the detail that went into this opening. Like, I'm kinda digging this. And of course you get your Dracula mention there, and like, this has a lot of arcade cabinet intro feel to it. Recording this footage, I just couldn't look away. I had to sit through the whole intro, which, if you know me from outside of the channel, I'm one of those people who just wants to skip to playing the damn game. I'm hitting buttons as soon as I can. So it's talking about at that time in London, the rising of the full moon meant the coming of yet another gruesome murder. Like, not a game for the faint of heart here. We're dealing with some pretty dark stuff already. When it says Master of Darkness, it ain't fooling around. Turns out we're a doctor. Dr. Social, isn't that great? Didn't even go to medical school and I've already got a doctorate. As one does when they're hunting Dracula, I suppose. So round one is going to take us to the Thames River. Do believe I'm saying that correct. Nice visuals here. Really crisp, really clean. Loving that light blue suit. Don't know about you. Notice the bats were a bit of a pain. As is your starting weapon, that dinky little dagger. We're going to upgrade to the cane right away here, and I'm just going to let you know now, weapon upgrades, as opposed to the progressive scale in which the Belmont whip just grows longer, then becomes a chain whip. The weapon power-ups are just flat out random in this game. So expect a lot of frustration there. Another frustration I had here was going up and down the steps. That was a gun. That would have made a fantastic secondary weapon, but it fell right into the river, and as is the case with these games, if you jump into the water, that's life over, so we're going to avoid that for a little bit here. Jumping actually feels a bit more forgiving. Castlevania games, especially the NES ones, were notorious for those, like, pixel perfect jumps. If you were just a little bit off, you were falling straight down, and it seemed like there was very little control. There I finally figured out the stairs. It's actually easier if you're holding in a diagonal as you're heading towards the stairs. So we're just going through this area here. Those are like night watchmen, I'm assuming. Why we're killing them, I don't know. I guess we're just really wary of people stopping us in our hunt for Dracula. But it is kind of neat the way they move, look about, and then shoot. Those bats are just horrible. Really fast, take really just great lines to hit you. The challenge is not lacking in this game. Like, it's not a Castlevania game, as far as I know. I don't think it was developed at all by Konami, but it fits with that level of brutal difficulty. Again, I'm not really the expert. I am an average to slightly below average gamer in terms of skill. I like to think I bring the passion to gaming far more than the ability. There I tried to jump like a doof. I knew that wasn't going to work. So I just go down the stairs. I know there's no point in trying to get up there. The cane seems to be the strongest weapon as far as attack power and reach go. At least I think that's a cane. Sure seems like it, and that seems like a British enough weapon. There I finally get a gun. That's the secondary weapon. Like a lot of Master System games, you trigger the secondary weapon by holding your attack button and up on the direction pad. See, I just did it right there. In place of the little candles and things that you get in a Castlevania game, you get those random floating faces. Don't really fit into the aesthetic, but they are creepy. So, we'll roll with it. Speaking of rolling with it, we've cleared stage 1, and we're going to get a little point tally here. Kinda reminds me of Captain Silver, which is a game I'm probably going to review that. Well, not review, but I'm going to do some gameplay of that later this month, because pirates and Halloween sort of go hand in hand. Speaking of pirates, another thing that tends to go with pirate hands is some sort of sword. This is a rapier. They're typically associated with cutlasses. There, that bat floated straight up in the air, and this is about as good as secondary weapons get in the game from what I see. I've got 15 bombs. Now, like I said, the power-ups are random, and it's not unusual at all. Man, that bomb range is great, isn't it? It's not unusual at all to have a good weapon, and then hit a power-up to an inferior weapon and not be able to turn back before it's too late and you end up taking it anyway. Those little red vials are your health refills, really useful there. Again, digging the visual, the zombies rising up out of the water there. And it does amaze me just how frequently they sort of respawn there. Not a big fan of Stair Combat. It seems you can't get the angle right, and as you saw, I wasted a bomb there. Didn't even want to use it, but I was pressing up to go up the stairs, so it triggered it as a secondary weapon attack. Tried a couple times just to jump up to that upper ledge. Should have known that didn't work. And there, I didn't hit to jump over, and I lost my sword, and I'm back to the little dagger. As if I didn't learn my lesson the first time, I lost my bombs there and went back to the gun. So yeah, be very careful with the power-ups. That's the cautionary tale I have through this playthrough. One that I didn't learn so gracefully, as evidenced there. But we make it to the other side of this little section of the Thames River, and we're going to start climbing up this section here. Got a couple staircases, a zombie, and a bat. Just sort of let the bat hover overhead. And hey, good news for us, we're back to the sword. Shoot that bat. Health bar I felt was kind of forgiving here in the early stages. Also like the fact that there are fast zombies and slow zombies just to trip you up a little bit. Not everything's moving at the same rate, and you can't just say, well, that's a zombie, I got a sec. Managed to get some bombs back up, and they're just fun to throw. That was a dead-on shot. I do believe my son was asking me to throw that one, and you can't let the boy down, right? So we clear stage 2, just sort of follow the dog off screen, and we come up to another night watchman or a mugger or just dude with a gun on that bridge there. So there's an axe, and I was kind of hoping that was a secondary weapon. Unfortunately, it's a primary weapon, and it quickly becomes my least favorite. You would think the little knife you start with would be my least favorite, and there I let it go because I'm trying to give the axe a chance here. But at least with the knife, you know what you're getting. It's your starting weapon. It's not gonna be great. I picked up the axe and I'm like, oh, okay, let's deal some damage. And here it's got like the most disappointing attack range in the game. It's literally that little section above you and slightly behind your head and right in front of you. Evidenced later, I find a situation where I try to use it and the axe is just utterly useless in a situation where virtually any other weapon swung like that would hit. So there we got the knife power up again, and it was on the ledge I was jumping to and just didn't finesse the jump enough, and we come back with the knife, which overall I'm not sad about because the axe was more frustrating than anything. Personally, I'd be looking for the cane or the sword just about any time I play through here, and you'll see later the importance of the secondary weapons as well. But for now, let's just get through this screen. We've got bats, we've got ghosts, we've got dogs. Just a crazy scene here, and I really did hesitate there for a second before, saying, you know what, the axe is at least doing some damage when I hit. There I missed the ghost with the bomb attack greatly, and I pick up a boomerang, which is yet another thing I deeply regret. Wasn't sure if it would come back to me or not. I figured from the number it wouldn't, but man, that little lazy curve up, just not worth it. Okay, so here, I am like, I had to move into range for the dog to literally step on my head before I could hit that with the axe. Just a stupid low attack radius there. The nice thing is, if you actually do hit something with the axe, it's dead. It's going down. Those large crystals are a board wipe there. It eliminates all monsters on screen. Unfortunately, it fell into me while the screen was empty, and a ghost materialized right behind me there for a second right after I used it, so it felt like the most counterproductive bonus there ever. Here we come up to our stage boss, one Jack the Ripper, and we're going to try to take him out with boomerangs here. And right away you can tell this may be the least useful a boomerang is in a game of this ilk. If you're a fan of The Legend of Zelda, you're used to boomerangs not really doing damage, but they're an effective stun weapon, and me personally, being a Wonder Boy fan, there's entire speedrunning sets who just swear by boomerangs in Wonder Boy the Dragon's Trap. Find a bit of a safe spot here under this platform. Jack can't really get to me, so he just jumps about in futility, but equally futile are my boomerangs, half of which I'm missing out of frustration, and the ones that did hit barely did any damage. So I just decide to see if I can hit him, get a shot in there, but again, I've gotten the knife, not really doing much damage, and he manages to take me out with a well-timed strike as I jump up again. Takes me back to I believe the last stage before the boss battle there, so a little chance to get some new weapons and armor. Pick up the axe, which is a thing. Glad it doesn't just pop you back in with the starting weapon, and say, hey, good luck with that boss. It gives you a chance to at least get some things. This game would be brutal if it just respawned you where you died and starting gear. There we take our time with the knife, taking out that guy with a gun. And we're moving down. Just skip the staircase. Pick the axe back up, again for sheer power, not out of love for the weapon. There's the knife. We're just going to let that fade out of sight there. Nice thing is, the items do fade away rather quickly, so if you do want to dodge that one. Another nice thing is your recoil from getting hit is not as big as it would be in like a real Castlevania game. Those moments where you're playing and you're on a ledge, monster nicks you, and all of a sudden you're flying way back, you can't control the fall, and you lose a life. This never felt that out of control. Overall, I could feel this being a, spiritual sibling to the Castlevania series. It plays in that ilk, and despite my frustrations with some of the bits of it, I had a blast getting this little bit of gameplay for y'all. More proof that the axe's range is useless. I mean, these guys are practically stepping on my head, and I can't hit them with an item that I'm swinging over my head. Not sure what that red dot does other than gives you points, but it gave us some points, and you know, we'll take what we can get. Forgot to hit the attack button there. No lie, just straight up jumped, and I'm like, why didn't I attack? Again, large crystal, but there's like one enemy to kill, and then that ghost pops up immediately after. I can't help but feel that they tried for Castlevania style recoil, and maybe during testing said, yeah, this just can't be done. Once again, letting the knife fade out of sight, we're going to take our chances with the axe here against Jack the Ripper, and we've got 8 bombs. So our secondary weapon, far better, and it's already paying dividends. We're getting tangible damage from these bombs, and we hit 3 for 3. Nice little lazy lob there. Sort of like the holy water from Castlevania, now that I think about it. Got one left, gotta make it count. And there we go, Jack's only got 2 balls of health left. Health orbs, I guess sounds better. And we're just gonna jump up and finish him off. Good on us for that one. Got our round 1 stage 3 clear. And then a little message. So you managed to defeat my Jack the Ripper. That's right, all that happens here has been under my control. So this is Dracula, and he's taunting us, dear Dr. Social, for making it this far, but very much not seeming all that threatening to him. And he invites us to the House of Wax. Here we are, round 2, the House of Wax dolls. And anytime I hear that, I expect monsters to just spring to life out of these statues here, so I'm being wary. Nonetheless, I wasn't expecting him to fly out like a bat out of hell like that. And if you look, it's specifically the ladies in the white dress. Which makes sense, because a lady in a white dress is a pretty common horror trope as well. I love the horror and Halloween tropes. This is one of my favorite times of year. So seeing things like this, it just gets me feeling a little warm and fuzzy. As houses of wax dolls coming to life to kill you typically do for everyone. I don't know. Let me know. Tell me in the comments if, you know, getting stalked by wax figures just sort of makes you pine for home. Or not. That's pretty weird. So we come up into a very Castlevania looking room with the Mona Lisa. We've got our staircases, our random portraits, a nice little picture window that would be a pain in the ass to replace the panes on. That's what, 64 panes in that window? What were they thinking? Just about every monster's hitting us. Again, not the greatest gameplay here. Has not been a banner week for me playing Castlevania adjacent games. If you want more proof of my futility in this style of game, despite my love of playing them, just recently uploaded the first level gameplay for Kid Dracula for the Game Boy. That was a riot to play. Feel free to check it out. We're gonna try making a little jump here, and it seems like every time I try to jump, one of these Night Watchmen hit us. But I decided to use a little bit of invincibility after the damage bump to make that jump. Now we're in a room with a fireplace and just randomly appearing women in white. Gonna poke some holes in them with the sword there, and just seems to be never ending. Kinda wondering at this point if we get a treasure or something, but no, our reward is the floor falling away section by section. So we jump down, and this room is just impossible. You've got swarming bats, you've got guys with guns, you've got ladies in white. My health's about 0 already. Gonna give it a valiant try, but it's not gonna end well, so we're probably just gonna cut out the video here. This has been a grumpy old guy gaming, playing Master of Darkness. Oh, I've still got 1 life left. Bonus play, everybody! Let's see how I do here. Spoiler, not well. But I do appreciate you coming along to watch. This is a point where a more studious me would probably stop the recording and go ahead and try and smooth this over with a second cut and blend the videos together, but honestly, that's not what this is about. This is about having fun, and I find people respond more positively to honest mistakes than they do false truths. So, here's my honest mistake, thinking I was dead a bit more so than usual. I get to make it back up to the very Castlevania looking room. I mean, even the color palette just sort of reminds you of the decrepit castle in that opening of the first Castlevania. In case you're wondering, again, all of my retro videos for October I want to be Halloween themed or Halloween inspired, which means yes, we will be getting to those Castlevania games. At least 1 and 3. I don't know how much Castlevania 2 I'll do because of the RPG nature of the game and the fact that it never really was my favorite. There I jumped down a pit, and we're just going to call it there. Again, this has been a Grumpy Old Guy Gaming. Thank you very much for watching.